Tour guides of Reddit, what's the worst thing a tourist has ever done under your supervision? I work at a brewery taproom and take people on brewery tours. During fermentation, CO2 is produced and excess comes out through a runoff pipe and into a water bucket. One of the attendees, who was being a pain and trying to be funny but nobody was laughing, asked me what the pipe was for. So I gladly explained. He then asked what would happen if he breathed it in. In disbelief of his stupidity, I told him he would pass out and damage his brain. He then proceeded to grab the pipe and take a breath. He was then ejected and barred. Some people are just beyond belief. Tour guide and boat captain in the Caribbean. We had about 40-50 people on the boat. Got off. We would normally go feed swimming pigs, which someone would get nipped from them from doing stupid shit, but nothing too serious. Well, the next stop after that was another island where we would hand feed turtle, sharks, and stingrays. So we would tell the people to hold it with the palm open and food in the middle for the stingrays, and they would come over the top and take it out. The turtles and the sharks put it in the water holding it in the tips, and when they are coming for it, let go. Well, of course, this dingus decided he would be tough and feed this baby shark. No longer than your forearm without letting go. Shark proceeds to bite his fingers. He screams and jumps up out of the water and flicks it off of his hand, pulling one of his fingernails off in the process. So that's one I always remember. Was on a tour in New Orleans. Guy gets drunk and basically makes a fool of himself and slaps his partner. Everyone else on the tour is like, whoa, not cool. Take a hike. Girlfriend leaves with him. Next morning we're all on the bus waiting to roll out to the next destination and we're not moving. 30 minutes later we're all getting pissed off. Then the couple get on the bus looking sheepish. By the next stop we learn, the drunk guy ran a bath at the hotel, passed out and it flooded the bathroom, and 4 floors below into the hotel lobby. The hotel wouldn't let them leave without paying thousands of dollars. Karma for him. I watched a man run up the side of the platform the Winged Victory statue is on in the Louvre and throw his arm around it for a photo. Security got him down pretty quickly. I'm shocked he actually made it up there. I actually had a very hard time with the Louvre because of shit like this. So many camera flashes at point blank. People constantly touching shit that really shouldn't be touched. Everywhere I looked there was someone being a shithead to something irreplaceable. I was in the part that was still set up like a palace and came into a room to find some dude holding a 500-year-old Chinese tapestry up to his face and rubbing it between his fingers. I lost it on him a bit, asking what the he was thinking, why he would do something like that, and his only response was I wanted to see, and shrugging. Ultimately I trust the folks that put stuff on exhibit to have weighed the risks of this sort of moron's impact versus the value of sharing access with the world, but holy hell does it make my blood boil. Not a tour guide, but was doing an English language camp for foreign kids. Took the kids on a day trip to London, which involved going up the London Eye. While in the queue, one of the kids started shouting that he had a bomb in his bag and he was going to blow everyone up. Almost got all 20 kids in the group kicked out. I was working on a tourist island in Australia when this man pulled out almost all the back feathers of a peacock because he wanted to keep one. He sneaked up behind it, and grabbed a huge handful and yanked them all out. He was immediately escorted off the island. The peacock had a huge bare patch and most of its beautiful feathers were gone. Sad face. They took a big shit in front of the group. So, we tour through streets and parks and make it really clear that the toilets at the beginning of the tour are the only ones for the first 90 minutes of tour. We get to a park about 30 minutes into the tour. Not a big park, mind you. It is basically a big roundabout with a swing set, bench and 2 trees. I'm in the middle of my spiel in the park when I see a guy at the back of the group step away, pull his pants down and squat on the grass. Of course I was stunned and lost my flow, which had everyone looking around only to recoil in horror as this guy drops a log like it was nothing. He wasn't even ashamed. I used to work at a heritage site. It was an old military installation with a lot of remaining original structures, bunk beds, cafeteria equipment, computers, etc. Every day it was a constant effort to remind people not to jump on the beds, not to slam doors open, not to punch every button like it owes them money. The absolute worst was a group of kids on a school trip. Within the first 10 minutes we're walking through the tech portion of the exhibit, where we had a wall lined with Burroughs Large Systems machines. all behind this little fence about waist high. I turned to demonstrate some of the pieces, and when I looked back at the group, one of them had jumped over the barrier, opened one of the units and started pulling out handfuls of digital tape from the reels inside. I just about jumped on the kid when the teacher did just that. She jumped the barrier, smacked the kid's hands and took him outside. I immediately ended the tour and had them all refunded, as I couldn't imagine what else could happen. I was on a tour with my family in Cambodia and we visited Angkor Wat. Now, as everyone knows, Angkor Wat is teeming with tourists day and night. There was a long line to climb the back and basically the topmost tower, wherein the steps are very steep. It was a hot day and when it was almost our turn, a middle-aged man took 2 steps, fell backward and started having a seizure. People came to his help immediately. However, one man who was also crowding around him did nothing but pull out his cell phone and start recording. Thankfully, everyone noticed and started yelling at the guy to put that shit away. He acted like the victim though and he said he was just trying to help. Somewhat relevant. There's a small hill on a pedestrian footpath outside my university. Once, I witnessed a Segway tour attempt to use this path. The first Segway slowed to a stop as it reached the top of this hill. The second Segway sped up in an attempt to make it over, and crashed into the first Segway. One by one, each Segway crashed into the one in front of it, toppling over each other. The pathway now has a no bikes or Segways sign. On an open-top tour bus in London, woman tries to dangle her toddler over the railing, then starts saying she's going to complain to my manager when I told her to stop. Caught her doing it again and company policy said that anyone endangering their kids like that was to be removed from the tour. So the driver had to come up and march her off. She still insisted she did nothing wrong. She literally had the kid's feet on the side rail of the moving bus and was just holding him loosely round the waist. One low-hanging tree branch, of which there were many on the route, and that kid was gone. Worked at an aquarium. This dude arrived in the Amazon exhibit room featuring the tank where every fish in it can hurt you and promptly started dangling his sister's kid over the exhibit. I immediately stepped up to him and pushed the kid back from over it, firmly explaining that this wasn't allowed and that I'd have to call security. Thank God, the kid's mother was on my side and started tearing into the man. It took her 5 minutes of no. That was absolutely not appropriate for him to get the message that he'd seriously up. Some people never do get the whole pointy venomous fish bad. No dangling kids thing. I used to give tours at my university. There was a group of middle schoolers I was giving a tour to show them why they should want to go college. There was this one kid who kept trying to sneak away and was whistling at just about every girl who walked by. Weird. Okay, whatever. He thinks he's a big shot. Then a very attractive girl comes jogging by us, and he tried to grab her and starts air humping while he watches her run away from us. I was mortified. I ended the tour. I was done with him. The teachers didn't even care. That was probably the worst part. I'm in the middle of talking and someone's phone rings. Okay, that happens sometimes, and usually they just cancel the call or step outside. Nope. This guy answers the call and starts talking on the phone, only a few meters from where I'm standing. I think, oh, he'll just quickly explain he's busy and end the call. Nope. He starts a conversation. The rest of the group glare at him and I'm put in an awkward position because my workplace put a huge emphasis on politeness. So I suggest to him to continue his call in the hallway, just outside the room we were in. To which he replied, no, I'm fine here, and went back to his phone conversation. I'm doing my best to talk to the rest of the group, about 25 people, but he's so loud. Eventually this Chinese woman yells across the room at him, shut up. We want to listen to the lady, not you, which worked. But I just couldn't imagine the nerve to ruin everyone's experience like that. 'Cause you're too selfish to talk on the phone outside. Also, the place I worked allowed photos but had a strict no photos of the staff rule for privacy reasons. I always explained this at the start and 99% of people were cool. One day I had a particularly happy snapper who got right up in a staff member's face to take a photo. Like I'm taking centimeters from his face to take a photo. The staffer was just some random middle-aged white dude. So I'm not sure why the fascination. But he was livid. It's like I saw it happen in slow motion so couldn't do anything to stop it. That guy was removed from the tour. Took a class of middle schoolers to a museum and one of my art students dragged his hand across a 3,000-year-old Indian painting. Later on I found out the object was almost certainly a reproduction, but I nearly died of rage on the spot. The student was with us on a 45-day placement for severe behavioral issues. He earned enough point in school to qualify for the field trip. Never again.